Over the last year and a half, I have unfortunately learnt the pain of the loss of a child. But their families in the last year and a half, such as the Bibas family, which not only lost more than a child, they've lost 3 generations. And thankfully, it's very few. We only need to go back 80 years plus in the Shoah, where thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of families, lost entire families. I don't know if you know, just below where I am at Mount Herzl, on what's called Shvila Mechaber, the path which connects from Mount Herzl, where many of the founders of the Zionist movement and those who've paid the price, the soldiers on this mountain, are connected just into the valley of Yad Vashem, which is the foot of Mount Herzl. And what joins them is this shvil behind me called Shvila Mechaber, the path which joins Yom HaShoah, and 3 years later, the founding of Israel. And at Yom HaShoah, I don't know if you know, in Yad Vashem, there are less than 5 million names. We don't even know the names of more than 1 million people who died. We know that there were 1 million people. We know there were 6 million from the records, but we don't even know their names because millions, more than 1 million died without any family members. And tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands of families, multiple people died. How many times I meet people who tell me that their parents were married, both parents are survivors, and their grandparents, and all 4 grandparents lost children, lost spouses. I was once in Poland on our Mizrahi trip every year, and one of the people who came with us when we were in Auschwitz-Birkenau put 11 stones. And we asked him why we put 11 stones down. He says, because here I lost 11 brothers and sisters. The Klausenberger Rebbe, a wife and 11 children. Can't even begin to imagine how many people this happened to. And for me, despite the gam ki eilech begeit sal mavet, even when I walk in the shadow of death, as King David says in Psalm 23, and there was never a greater shadow of death in the history of humanity and the Jewish people. But somehow, I don't know how, and I think I perhaps want to surmise that we chose life. I meet Holocaust survivors, which are fewer and far between today, and how they chose life. How did they pick themselves up? People lost entire families. They were totally broken, yet somehow they chose life. They chose to move forward. The Shvila Mechaber, from the Gam ki elech begeit sal mavet, lo yirah ki atay madi, we won't fear because God, you're with me. And I think what godliness means, one of the things it means for the Jewish people, is choosing life. Not only does God tell us, Uvacharta b'chaim, the same God is called Melech Yachid, Kel Chei HaOlamim, we say in Ishtabach. The unique God, Melech Yachid, what's unique about him? Chei HaOlamim, who believes the one of eternal life, who is eternal life. And we say after Borei Nefashot, Baruch Chei HaOlamim. We say, God, you are blessed because you're the one of eternal life. And the God of eternal life charges us to choose life. One of the great privileges for me, a feeling of being a Jew, a painful privilege, is being part of a people who, no matter how much pain and Geit Sal Mavet there has been, we choose life time and time again. When we drink with our friends and family, we say L'chaim. It's not cheers. We say cheers as well. It's L'chaim, to life. That's who we are as Jews. And on this parsha, today, Thursday, is Yom HaShoah. This parsha is Shmini. And one of the terrible tragedies we know of Aaron's 2 sons taken, Nadav and Avihu, in a moment. And what does Aaron do? Famously he says, Vayidom Aaron. He is totally dumbfounded and silent. And we as Jews were dumbfounded for decades. We didn't know how to relate to the Shoah. There were no marches of the living. I noticed for the first 30 years, who could even go back to the killing fields of Poland? Who would want to go back to the biggest killing fields in Jewish and human history? But you know what? When we were able to rebuild families and communities around the world and rebuild our state of Israel, and we were able to taste life again, then from the point of Yachid Chei HaOlam, we were able to go back to the march of the living, because Jewish history is the march of the living. The Shvila Mechaber between Mount Herzl and between Yad Vashem was built by youth movements, because the Jewish people are young, as Hosea says, Ki na'ar Yisrael v'aveu, says Hosea. I love the Jewish people, says God, because they are young. They've got a joie de vivre. They believe in life. Like me, who is Melech Yachid, El Chei HaOlamim, who believes in life. They celebrate life. They believe in life. They choose life. We choose life, even in the most impossible situations. And therefore we remember those who died Al Kiddush Hashem in the most unimaginable ways. But we remember how those who came after them and their families have chosen life, how we continue to choose life. And as that schut of in the valley of the shadow of death, that those heroes chose life, and so do we today. We choose life to honor their memories and to honor the future of Jewish destiny.